for me, as professional as we are, and as premium as we are, because we do sell and source the best. To me, it's still a local butcher shop.
Yes, yeah,
and
absolutely.
I would hate to lose that touch. That if a customer, yourself or someone walks in, a regular customer, that I'm able to say, "Hey, Colin, how are you? How was football last week?"
Correct.
Or whatever, you know.
Yeah. The Guardian Irish Business Podcast is a tour around the entrepreneurial industry here in Dublin and across the country. We have the great privilege here at Guardian of working with some of the most inspiring and influential small businesses in Ireland and the people that run them, who are forming and shaping the future of many different sectors of the Irish economy. I thought it would be interesting to chat to and learn from these people, which we do every day, but memorialise it in a podcast which could then be shared with our friends and clients and you, the listener. For today's guest, we have a fourth generation butcher that has over 140 years experience through his family's business with award-winning dried meats and co-author of the incredible book And for Mains. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Higgins. So let's take it back, Rick. Where did it all start for you in the business?
For me, I started off in working in my dad's shop in Portmarnock. I served my time there, but even before that, my mum and dad ran that shop, and so that shop was it was obviously the family business, but it was also used as a babysitting service as well. So after school, we used to go out there. My mum would collect us from school. Because my mum and dad were working in the shop, I used to go out there as well. And then we on a Saturday, obviously two of them were in work, nobody at home to mind us. I have two sisters, so we were all dragged out to the shop to work on a Saturday, clean up or do whatever, you know.
So Rick, to remind you, I think I became your dad's accountant in 2002 or 2003. And Tonya and your mum out in the shop there, and I would have seen you behind the counter as a little young fella.
So 2002, I was very early 20s, and I was probably halfway through my apprenticeship then at that stage. But I remember going in there on a Saturday, and my sisters hated it, despised it, and I quickly kind of fell in love with it. It was I was really into it, you know. So it was all good. I really fond memories of that shop.
Very good. And ultimately your dad sold that shop, closed it down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so my dad retired about I don't know now, about 5 or 6 years ago now.
Right.
And I wanted to continue doing my thing, you know. So good. Just I like work. Yeah,
good. You're now 20 something out in Portmarnock. Your dad is hitting mid-60s, and he says to you, "Son, I think I'm going to be out of here shortly." What were your thoughts then?
Like I say, after I served my time with my dad, I as much as I said I didn't want to hang on to his coattails, I did hang on to his coattails because I tried to learn as much as possible off him. Not only the butchering side, but the business side of it.
Very good.
I knew my dad was going to retire, but the one thing that really stuck out in my head was I knew my dad would give me that business in a heartbeat.
Right.
And that didn't sit well with me, you know, because first of all I didn't want to be handed anything.
Right.
And that was one thing when I served my time as an apprentice, and when I worked in Portmarnock, I was an employee. I wasn't the boss's son.
Okay.
I was an employee. So yeah, I knew, and I still know. Like my dad would have handed me that business in a heartbeat.
Right.
But I knew he wanted to retire at some stage. I didn't want to take that from him. He could sell that business and have a nice little nest egg there, you know.
Right.
So I certainly didn't want to take that from him. Yeah. So I knew I had to do something.
Right.
That's kind of where something came about that I knew, right, I'm going to have to make a move myself. Either buy the business off my dad, because I didn't want to be handed it.
Right.
Or
go
my own way, you know. But like I said, the encouragement I got off my dad was second to none. When I remember when something came up, when that premises came up, I was told about the premises.
Right.
And it was a massive risk, you know. And I remember saying it to my dad, should I do this? And he said, if you don't, you're going to regret it, you know.
So Rick, I recall at the time, again, you were in a relationship then with Eva, and you coming to me and chatting about the cost of this, and again, you were giving me costings which are phenomenal. And you had a deposit for a house at the time. And you saying, well, come here, the house is going to have to wait because I'm putting up this of my own money. You borrowed money, obviously. Maybe your dad helped you out a bit too.
He did as well, yeah.
But like that was a big ballsy decision to do then as a young, early 20s person. Like, you know?
Yeah, it was, yeah. We put a lot of things on hold. And not only that, then when I did, it turned out Eva was pregnant with the twins at the time. So when I opened something a month later, Eva gave birth to the twins.
Good God.
So it was kind of everything happening at once, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a huge decision. It was a huge risk. But like I say, I'm not one for
taking things for nothing and just
I would hate to look back now and have been handed my dad's business. You know, so it just wouldn't have sat well with me, you know.
Well, look, I think it's admirable what you've done, because looking at it, you're fourth generation. Like many family businesses, they fail in the second generation. If they get to the third, they definitely fail. So I'm looking at you here now, successful business, fourth generation, and please God, you know, mightn't be Luke, but whoever it might be, it'll make it to the fifth generation.
I always say that to people when people ask me, fourth generation, haven't messed it up yet.
And the great thing is, I know you're still talking to your dad. Right?
Oh yeah.
A number of family businesses, they might be third generation, fourth generation, but they're suing each other.
No, we were out for a point last weekend and a whole lot, you know. So we were down to my mum and dad's for Easter. Mum and dad done all the cooking and the whole lot. I was smashing
fish, I suppose.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's the Italian guys anyway.
Now I have to say, having sampled your rack of lamb, which is our favourite from you, absolutely fantastic and gorgeous.
What can I say? Invoices in the post.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. Your dad was a character by all accounts, because I remember meeting him the first time in the family home, and there was this putter on the wall in a glass frame. I said, what's that? What's the story about that putter?
So my dad's a good friend of Ian Woosnam's. They became friends way back in the day, probably late 70s, maybe mid 70s. But before Woosy was really hit the big time with golf, you know.
Right.
So Woosy used to come over to the house when the Irish Open was in Portmarnock, and he obviously at that stage didn't have a lot of money, so he used to stay in the house and things like that. And I remember, like, when Irish Open week was on, Woosy used to come down and have breakfast, and his breakfast consisted of big, massive steaks and eggs for breakfast. That was his breakfast, you know.
Very good.
And then so the putter, like I said, they kept in touch and became really good friends. So my dad was over in Woosy's house in Jersey, and this putter was on it was after being presented to Woozy when he won the 97 Ryder Cup or something like that.
Wow.
And so he gifted it to my dad anyway. That putter is actually in the shop in Sutton now.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So it's a good talking point, you know.
It's a good story.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a good talking point.
Yeah. I'd say your dad had a couple of points with Woozy over the years.
Both of them are really good crack, and Woozy hasn't changed a bit over the years, you know. Right. He's still good crack, still likes a point.
Good.
And he often comes over. He hasn't been over obviously in a couple of years because of COVID and things like that.
Right.
But he comes over more or less to have a few points for the weekend. Yeah.
Very good. Good stuff. You've been called one of the last remaining true master butchers. Do you agree with this? And in your opinion, what makes a master butcher?
Well, butchery's definitely changed over the last 20 years, 25 years. So the way I was trained in was really, really old school. So we break beef, we bone beef. Beef comes into us not in boxes, it's carcass beef that comes into us, you know. Right. So for me, like a master butcher should be able to do all of these things. So one of the parts of the job I enjoy the most is selecting beef. So selecting beef for me that's the building blocks, you know. If I get that wrong, it's not going to be right going out the door, you know. So that first step is really important. But I love that part, selecting and giving suppliers stick and farmers stick and things like that. So they're all well used to me now.
So who are your go-to farmers now, or do you mind me asking? And so, do you have 2, 3, 4, or do you fall out with people, or do you?
No, never fall out with anyone.
Right.
I use some farmers on a regular basis, and some of the farmers like we've been using since my dad's time.
Right.
And then I've built up my network over the years as well. So there's a lot of new farmers that I use as well.
Right.
And then I've recently just partnered with it was out of the blue. I partnered with a lady in Dunboyne, Anne Marshall, and she breeds purebred shorthorn.
Right.
And to get pure breeds is really, really rare.
Right.
And to do what she does is really, really rare, to care for the animals and things like that. So I got a phone call I actually got a message through Twitter off somebody that follows me on Twitter. Would I be interested in speaking to this lady? Always open for conversation.
Right.
And contacted her, arranged a farm visit, was blown away when I went out.
Right.
And I ended up buying the whole herd off her.
Wow.
So yeah, it's kind of some of it is potluck, being introduced to someone at the right time, and some of it is I'll go out, I'll ask around the industry, I'll tell lads specifically what I'm looking for.
Right.
And I've one particular farmer that I deal with, Hughie Fitzpatrick. And if I'm working on a project or I want something specific, I'll go to him.
Right. He'll
traipse up and down the country and he'll source whatever I'm looking for, you know.
Very good.
And then he'll put it on his land in Kildare,
right,
for a couple of years and finish it the way I want to finish it.
So
there's a lot of work goes into it.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, there's a lot of work goes into it.
Just deciding on a Monday morning, listen, I need X amount of beef, and I'll go and buy it.
No.
Okay.
No, there's a lot of work and a lot of planning, and I've made a shitload of mistakes on the way.
Right.
So myself and Gaz Smith done a thing with an ex-dairy cow, which is done a lot in Spain on the continent, but it's starting to become a little bit more popular over here now. But at the time, this is about 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
At the time, it just wasn't being done over here. So we went out, me being me, thought I knew it all. Gaz being him, he thought he knew it all, the whole lot. We sourced a cow, and we once we committed, and that's one thing. Once I commit to a project, I'm in 100%. You know.
Good. Right.
So we sourced this cow and paid a lot of money for it. Got it slaughtered.
Now, was this a special cow? Do you mind me asking?
Yeah, well, we thought it was going to be special.
Okay.
Hughie tried to advise us, and I kind of didn't listen to him.
Right.
And we more or less messed it up. It was a disaster, you know.
Wow.
So all of that animal went into burgers. None of it was wasted.
Right.
It all went into burgers. But so the second time we actually sat down with Hughie and the lads from the abattoir.
Right.
Told them what we were looking for, and they told us, right, this is actually what you need, you know.
Good.
And then they went out, done their part of the job.
Brilliant.
And it worked out perfect the second time, you know.
So are you using all the cows? That's the secret of this?
Nose to tail, yeah. Okay. That's part and parcel of what I do, you know.
Right.
You know, that's part and parcel of it.
Very good. Yeah. Very good. Good stuff. You've been known to mix the traditional techniques passed down through generations and new technologies. How important is it for you to keep the old ways alive?
For me, old school, like I said, that's the building blocks, that's the foundation.
Right,
so, we're probably we were definitely one of the last remaining butchers that actually bone beef on the premises, that break quarters of beef and full pigs and lambs and the whole lot. Everything's done in store.
Right.
Sausages, everything.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of work goes into that, you know.
Right. So in 2013, you returned to Sutton. What was the journey to decide to return there?
I kind of I wanted to do something. I didn't want to hang on to my dad's coattails all the way through. I knew something was a good area, but at the time, Super Queen was there.
Right.
My uncle had a shop previously in Sutton,
Right.
which closed in 1990 or something like that. So there was a 23-year gap there, like.
Okay.
So, but I knew people still recognised the name and,
Sure.
and the whole lot. So we had a bit of a reputation still there. But people thought I was mad. You were probably the only one of the ones that backed me, and my dad, obviously, my mum.
Right.
But people thought I was mad because there was no parking around.
Yeah. Super Queen around the corner.
Super Queen around the corner, the whole
then
lot.
had a good reputation for good beef.
And 2013, there was a lot of units closed.
Yes.
There was, and I was going in, and I had a plan in my head to only do the best. So it was a premium product I was offering in the height of a recession.
Yeah.
Indeed. A lot of people thought I was mad, but I stuck to my guns, and it worked out. It worked out well.
Very good.
Yeah.
I remember actually going out because it was the old Extravision premises.
That's right,
and it must have been closed 2 or 3 years, and that was a sign of the downturn in Ireland at the time. Extravision was gone. Like, you know.
I think like when I moved in there, I think I was the only unit. Permanent TSB was beside me. That closed down. Bank of Ireland was there.
Beside,
There was florists, there was news agents, but they were all closed down. You know,
yeah.
so we moved into a ghost town. Like.
Absolutely. So at the time, Rick, I do remember being there with you and fighting over fit-out costs, and you saying to me, I'm going to use sustainable products as much as I can, sustainable packaging, the walls. Tell me about that. Is that a passion of yours as well?
Yeah, I knew what I wanted. I had to the shop had to represent the meat, so both had to be premium. I didn't want to walk for customers to be walking into like a traditional butcher shop was kind of sawdust on the floor.
Correct,
it was white tiles on the wall and things like that. So I didn't want that. I wanted the shop to represent the product, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So yeah, we went all out on the fit out. Then we've big glass dry aging fridges down the back. And the idea behind that was actually just to show I'm really proud of being a butcher.
Right.
So it was to showcase the fact that we are real butchers.
Very good, yeah.
And when we opened first, we were probably one of the first in the country to showcase full carcasses down the back. And I was expecting a little bit of resistance and people coming in, oh, geez, I don't want to see that, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't like that at all.
Sure.
You know, we quickly attracted foodie type client that were really into the food and weren't afraid to see these carcasses, and it became a bit of a showpiece that kids would be dragging their parents down going, look at that, you know.
I remember, Rick, indeed, growing up as a kid in Southside Dublin, I would have had memories of carcasses hanging up, perhaps not the best health and safety standards at that time, but in walking into your shop and I saw rabbits or hares hanging in the back, I said, do people buy them? And you said to me, yeah.
I actually remember that. Yeah,
okay.
we were dry aging rabbits.
Absolutely, yeah. And you could tell me who caught them and where they were caught.
Yeah, absolutely,
that morning and so on. That was really funny at the time. So you're fourth generation butcher now. Was it always did you always know you'd go into the business? And dare I ask, did you have disagreements with your dad as regards to the direction or going into the business at all, or how did you get into the business?
No, like I said to you, when I was in Portmarnock, I quickly fell in love with it. So I would say, I certainly wasn't pushed into the business or anything like that, but once I decided that this is what I want to do, I was encouraged by my dad, you know.
Right.
So yeah, I'm sure he would have loved me to have a cushy 9 to 5, because it's bloody hard work.
Absolutely,
you know. But no, once I decided that's what I wanted to do, it was encouragement all the way. So, and actually, like, I was obviously living at home when I was serving my time. So I was living with my mum and dad. I was working with my mum and dad. But we had a super relationship.
Great.
Like myself and my dad were able to go for a pint after work and talk about the golf at the weekend or whatever, you know, things like that. So,
good.
It was good. And I actually remember at the time, traditionally butcher shops didn't open on a Sunday.
Yes. Yeah.
So when I was serving my time, off my own bat, I used to go in on a Sunday,
right,
to cut for Monday, to prep for Monday.
Right.
So I whatever, I'd shake off my hangover on a Sunday morning, and that whole lot, and then go out to the shop, open up, close the shutter behind me, but start the undercutting for a Monday.
Right.
But it was just because I was into what, and I
into
was enthusiastic. I wanted to learn the whole lot, you know. So
very good. And dare I ask, Rick, I know you have 5 or 6 kids. You have a son or 4. Is it 5? Okay, 4. Sorry, maybe I have news for you. But, sorry, do you see any of them following into the business or?
Again, Luke works. Luke's my eldest. He's 17 years of age. He works in the shop now on a Saturday, doing a little bit of cleaning and things like that, you know. I certainly wouldn't push him away from it. If that's what he decided he wanted to do, I would encourage all the way, exactly the same way my dad did for me, you know. But like I say, what we do especially is hard work, you know. There's,
but you know what, Rick, I see as an accountant with clients in every sector, I see a return to the trades and to the skills like you have. They may have been discounted 10 years ago, but now people are valuing them again, and it's a good profession and being rewarded correctly as well, I'd say to you. So,
I definitely see a return, and actually that's where the likes of on the continent, in say France for instance, right? If you want bread, you go to a baker. If you want meat, you go to a butcher. You know, and that's, for me, that's the way it should be, and that's the type of customer. The type of customer we're getting in, they appreciate what we do and the hard work goes into it, you know.
Right, very good. A big thing for you was the move into online, which I know you'd started prior to COVID, but tell me about that. How has that been for you?
So we started dabbling in it prior to COVID, but it was really when COVID kicked off. So at the time, I was supplying 110 restaurants.
Okay.
When COVID kicked off.
Right.
Obviously, overnight restaurants were closed and things like that. So it was panic stations.
Right. Okay.
What are we going to do here?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough that I had a website.
Right.
The website wasn't live, but it was built in the background. At the time, I was kind of hemming and hawing whether I was going to turn on the online thing or not, or continue. I wasn't exactly sure which direction I was going to take with the business, you know.
Right.
So it was a case of needs must. We had to turn on the online site. So when we turned it on, it was kind of overnight. It just clicked.
Wow.
It clicked, and so first of all, I clicked with local people, and we started to do a lot of local deliveries. Obviously, we were looking after elderly and vulnerable people as well.
Very good.
So it was free deliveries for them and the whole lot. But the support we got when I put the website online was phenomenal.
Right.
And not only in the local area, we started to build a customer base in Cork, Kerry, Galway, Sligo, up north. It was unreal, you know.
Okay.
So now it's a huge part of the business.
Absolutely.
And it's a part we're going to keep going, you know.
Well, look, as you know, a number of my friends, clients here in Rathfarnham, Dundrum, are getting deliveries from you on a weekly basis as well, and are delighted to be getting really good quality stuff, you know.
Yeah, so, we have customers now that will send us a bottle up from Kerry and say, thanks for looking after me and the whole lot. Yeah. Although when we had a lot of online customers during COVID, and now they're regular. These wouldn't have been customers beforehand, but now they're regular customers coming into the shop to have a chat with you or whatever. Yeah. But obviously further afield. But even further afield, now they're lifting the phone to Jean to say, this is what I want. Rick knows what I want, and Shane knows what I want.
Good.
And it's good.
Indeed, when you mention Jean and Shane, as a customer of yours, gone out to the shop myself, I just have to say the banter and crack is good. They know my name. They know everyone else's name, you know, whatnot. It's just personalised customer service.
But that's it. Like for me, as professional as we are, and as premium as we are, because we do sell and source the best. Yeah. To me, it's still a local butcher shop.
Yes, yeah.
And I would hate to lose that touch that if a customer, yourself or someone walks in, a regular customer, that I'm able to say, "Hi, Colin, how are you? How was football last week?"
Correct.
or whatever, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd hate to lose that personal touch as well,
yeah.
you know.
100% agree. It's a great way to build a business. I recall being in the shop and seeing the wagyu beef, right?
Yeah.
That's how much of that do you sell? Or tell me this.
That was a bold move, because we started. I think the first imported beef we did was the Spanish Galician beef.
Okay.
So the ex-dairy beef.
Don't mention Galicia, Rick. I have a very bad experience of being in Galicia.
Not eating steak.
Not at all. June 1 year, and it lashed rain for 10 days.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's like going to Connemara.
That'd be my
lovely
look.
part of the country.
That'd be my look now, yeah.
But go on.
But yeah, no, it was a really bold move, because I knew there would be some... Irish beef is the best in the world.
Okay.
Every day of the week, right?
Right.
So what we're important is alternatives. So like the likes of the Spanish's ex-dairy, it wasn't being done in this country at the time.
Right.
Then we started to import the wagyu, and then I approached the Japanese Wagyu Kobe Beef Association. So I had to apply for membership for that. That's they're really stringent rules, and I had to sign sworn oaths with the Japanese government for that.
Wow.
To uphold their traditions
Right.
and the way they sell it and the whole lot. And we started to import American beef, Australian beef, and again the whole point of doing this was it's different than Irish
Yes.
beef.
Okay.
So now we have customers and they'll come in and they'll buy an Irish steak and a Japanese steak and an American steak,
Right.
and they'll use it as a tasting.
Okay.
But we're the only licensed Kobe beef dealer in Ireland.
Wow.
We're the only one licensed to sell genuine Kobe beef.
And dare I ask, can you distribute that? Can you sell to other butchers, or is the
I
scale and the
don't
license?
sell
You
to
don't.
other butchers.
So you've really got Kobe beef exclusively in Ireland.
Well, at the moment, yes,
Okay.
Kobe beef it can only be sold through me.
Very good.
And like I say, I'm talking about genuine Kobe beef.
Right.
A lot of people sell Wagyu. For me, just because it's Irish doesn't make it better.
Okay.
But like I say, Irish beef is my first love.
Right.
But I've put so much work and effort into sourcing good quality beef.
Right.
I can't get enough of it for one. But I'm not going to take in something just because it's Irish if it's not good enough.
Very good. Okay.
So if that means my customers want to try American beef, well, so be it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so be it.
Yeah. No, variety is great. Break it to me. The price of a good Irish beef versus the Wagyu or the Ryobi.
The Kobe beef is the most exclusive beef in the world. So that retails €415 per kilo.
You're not serious.
Yes.
So if I was having an average steak on a Saturday night of Wagyu,
And this is where people have to be, the Irish market has to be educated. It's a delicacy.
okay.
It's not supposed to be eaten the way Irish beef is eaten.
Okay, so it's not a quantity thing.
No.
Don't fill my plate with it.
Absolutely. So
Okay.
you're talking 100 grams per person, and I have had people, and you've tried to explain to them, they say no, and they'd eat big Kobe
chunks.
beef steaks.
Okay.
And you'd say to them, how was the beef? It was amazing, but I felt sick after it.
Too much, is
Yeah,
it? Too rich?
Yeah, exactly. It's like eating a
Okay.
whole cake to yourself,
Okay.
like, you know. Now I've done that as well.
Okay. Very good.
But
Wow.
yeah, no, that's and that I'm really excited about going out sourcing that type of beef and things like that. So I have friends in the industry in America. There's 2 companies I deal with in America, and they would be considered probably 2 of the best beef processors in America. Anything that comes into Europe has to be certified HCO free.
Right.
I've done my homework on all these suppliers and their products and things like that, you
Right.
know. It's not that I'm taking it in just off the cuff.
Right.
I've researched this really, really heavily before anything comes into my shop. Even the Irish,
Right.
before it comes into the shop, I've put in the groundwork, you know.
Okay. Well done. It's good stuff. So moving on from that, one of your ventures recently has been your book, And for Men's, where you worked with your good friend who you mentioned, Gaz. I've heard the idea came together over a couple of pints. Can you tell us about that?
So Gaz, myself and Gaz, I started supplying Gaz's restaurants. Probably more by him coming in and bullying me for a supply.
Okay.
And we just clicked. He's a real normal bloke. There's no ego. There's no bullshit with him.
Sure.
He likes a pint. He likes a takeaway. The whole lot, you know. Right. So yeah, we were out. I was supplying his restaurants before COVID. COVID hit, obviously. And Gaz done actually a pop up then and something as well. Selling his surf packs and things like that. And yeah, we were out for points and we were discussing should we, would we, could we come up with a book, you know. And that went on for a few meetings, the whole lot. And then I remember we had a meeting in the shop with Nicola Brady and John Murray to see if we could do this and kind of pitch the idea to them and see if they were into it, you know.
Okay.
And like when we were pitching the idea, we could see, these are into it. Maybe we're onto something here, you know.
And Nicola and John are your marketing people or people that help?
So Nicola co-wrote the book with us.
Right.
John done all the lifestyle photography, and a girl called Katie Quinn. She done all the food photography and recipe testing and things like that.
Very good.
So the whole team, putting together the whole team was we although it happened by accident, but we put a lot of work into it. We weren't going to take just anybody.
Sure.
So yeah, the putting together the whole team. Nicola, Gaz kind of knew. I didn't know Nicola. John, I knew. John does headshots.
Right.
So that's his space. But we saw some of his photography. His what would you call it? Human photography? I don't know.
Right.
But he was really, really good at what he did, you know. Katie came in afterwards because the more me and Gaz got into it, the more we realised, shit, we're good at what we do.
Yeah.
But we need to bring in people, you know.
Yeah.
So it was good. Yeah, it was an interesting learning curve.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, look, I remember again sitting down with you, and the project was 120 grand. Needed to sell 3,000 odd books to break even. In the first couple of hours, 48 hours, you sold 1,500 books, which I'll remind you, I bought 50 from my clients for Christmas presents. Yeah. And they were
and paid.
And paid. Sorry, you should emphasise that. And paid. Yeah. And it went down really, really well because it was a different cookbook, I would say to you, right? So how did it go in the end? Did you break even or make money?
We probably made money. That 120 grand wasn't supposed to be 120 grand.
Right.
That was only supposed to be about 40 grand.
Okay.
And the more we got into it, the more we realised, right, we can't put out shit photography or anything like that. We're going to have to pay for good photography, you know?
Yeah.
Because we wanted, as much fun as it was along the way, we wanted a professional book at the end of it, you know? So we recipe tested, I think 3 times or 4 times or something like that, which probably isn't done. That's not the norm, you know.
Right.
So obviously that costs money. The photography, things like that. So like Gaz put up his house deposit on it. I was taking a massive chunk out of the company, so I was taking a massive risk on it.
Sure.
So yeah, it was a big call, but we were fairly confident from the social media following we had and the goodwill that was out there, and plus the fact that we're putting out a proper cookbook.
Yes, yeah. That
we could do this. Now, we started it off on our own, and it was probably a good thing that we did it on our own, because we wanted to put out the book that we wanted. So it was to be the recipes were to be top notch, but it was also to represent what we do. Yeah, we go for points. Yeah, we have a takeaway. Yeah, we have a greasy fry up and the whole lot.
Sure,
you know.
Sure. So a reality rather than
exactly. Yeah. So there was a lot of stories along the way. So yeah, we broke even. We probably made money. We've just gone to the second print run.
Okay.
So I think at this stage we've sold about 5,500 copies, maybe 6,000 copies. I'm not exactly sure.
Right.
Second print run is out now, and sales are still going well.
Very
so
good.
all good, yeah.
Look, feedback I'd say to you is from people I gave it to. They said they love it because the recipes are simple. There's maybe 10 ingredients or something, not like a certain person, Jamie Oliver, who has 70 ingredients and all to make one dinner.
And like there's nothing pretentious about what we do. Like so, it was to be right. If you haven't got this in your cupboard, you can go down to your local Spar and find this. Like you don't have to go out to or order online to a specialty food shop or things like that. You know, so.
Sure. So break it to me. I know Gaz isn't here with us today, but will there be a follow-up?
Will there be a follow-up? Well, he's really, really busy. I have a lot in the pipeline as well. If we have time, we probably will.
Very good.
We still go for points and all. So, like, and the one thing about the two of us is, like, the we'll go for points and there'll be, we'll kick around silly ideas, and then we could kick around 20 silly ideas, you know.
Yeah, come up.
But one of them will go, oh, actually, do you know what? Yeah. That sounds like a good idea.
Well, look, again, having read the book, and I wouldn't be a great cook myself, but having read the book, what I really liked about it was it wasn't just recipes, it was how to do things, like how to trim lamb or how to do whatever, which was brilliant for...
How to make a crisp sambo.
Absolutely. Well, I can manage the crisp sambo, but just preparing steak or whatever it might be, and it's simple English. I could read it, understand it, follow it, and I've had a bash at a couple of things in it. So thanks very much.
It was great crack making that book. Like the point day, we had a barbecue day as well, and the barbecue day was such good crack. So the idea was we were recipe testing all the meat products.
Right.
So Gaz had come up with the idea of we'll do it in my house, you know. So we picked a weekend. It turned out it was a cracker of a day, you know.
Right.
So we get to the house and we're having beers and the whole team is there. We're discussing all the recipes beforehand. So we were doing the business end of things first.
Right.
And then we started to do the recipe testing. Gaz is cooking on the barbecue, the whole lot. And he's a maggot for Twitter and social media, you know. Okay. So he constantly has his phone in his hand.
Right.
So he's going to open up the barbecue to checking the steaks, but he's videoing it while he's doing it, so he can post it, you know. Okay. So he opens up the barbecue and I mean the flames straight out, you know, singed the whole lot of it. And then he realised about 5 minutes later, shit, I think I have this on video, you know. Right. So we ended up posting that of him getting scalded as well, you know. Right, but it was great crack. I was drinking cans of Heineken out of Zalto, or was that what they're called? Zalto glasses, posh wine glasses, you know, just to piss him off.
Yeah, it's very good.
But it's good crack, it's good banter with him, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, he seems to be a character, and you seem to have really hit it off. So we might see a second book. You're saying, I know you appreciate that.
You never know. Like I say, if the timing is right for both of us, we definitely do something, you know.
I know you missed the Christmas bestsellers list or whatever. You didn't get out in time, but where would you be in the top 10 in Ireland?
I'd say, even further up than that. Because we self-published and we didn't sell in bookstores. We like them 5,000 copies we sold online, like privately through ourselves, and then we started taking on one or two retailers. But because we sold them ourselves and not through bookstores, they weren't counted.
They're of course. Okay.
Yeah, and we missed the deadline for the book awards for last year, but it automatically goes into this year. Okay. So, but we missed the deadline by a couple of weeks. But and actually that was another thing. Like the idea of the book started coming about in March. By May we were making this book, and we were saying to everybody, this book's going to be out by October. Right. And they were saying, that timeline doesn't make sense. Right. And but we did it. We got it out. We pushed it over the line. You know?
Well done. So, I know you're hassling me over various things at a time. So look, well done. Any tips for any aspiring authors out there? Would you recommend? Would you say don't do it, or would you try it, or any guide, any feedback for them?
No, I'd definitely say go for it. If it's something you want to do, I'd say go for it. Right. But in saying that, if me and guys had known before how much hard work goes into it, so it's going to be hard. If you're going to do it, it's going to be hard work, you know. But I suppose that's like everything.
See,
but
again, me sitting here, knowing yourself and knowing Gaz a bit, and that you're not 40-hour week men. You'd be 60
No,
to
no,
80-hour
yeah,
week
yeah.
men. You know,
It
due
doesn't.
to the nature of business.
It never stops. It never
Absolutely.
stops.
So-
When I'm ringing you at 7:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
it's same. Anyone running their own business, it never stops. You know.
Absolutely. But that's why I admire that the two of you put, in addition to the 60, 78 hour weeks, you put another 20 or 30 hours into
On
the
top of
book
that,
and got it done. So congratulations. Well
Yeah,
done.
there was a lot of ringing wives and saying, I won't be able to go to the kids' football match on Sunday because I have to go to a farm down in Kildare or whatever, you know. So
Right.
they put up with a lot of shit office as well, you know.
Yeah. Very good. Fair play to them. Look, I suppose looking at it now, we're first quarter of 22 is gone. Sutton is flying. The book is going good. You have a collaboration going with Gaz. What's next? Is anything in the pipeline that you can tell us? Or what's your plans? You're a young man, relatively, so you've still a runway ahead of you there.
I'm still as ambitious as day one. I'm certainly not going to stop here. A couple of things in the pipeline. A couple of things I'm working on at the moment. I won't tell you about just yet till I get them over the line.
Might we see a Higgins Butchers on the south side?
Yeah, may well soon enough. Yeah,
Okay.
you may well soon enough. But yeah, I'm still as ambitious as day one. I still love what I do.
Very good.
And yeah, hopefully it's only going to get bigger and better.
Good.
Yep.
I suppose from my outside looking in, key ingredient to success is the people. And you just mentioned maybe a south side location. To me, the people you have in the shop could run that shop for you. They're good people, and that's critical to it. So
That's why I'm ready to make that kind of move. You know.
Right. Very good. Well, look, I look forward to the future with you, Rick, and congratulations on what you've done so far. Rick Higgins, thank you very much for joining us today.
Cheers. Thank you.
If you want to learn a little more about Guardian, you can go to guardianaccountants.ie, where you'll learn about everything that we can do. If you're enjoying the Guardian Irish Business podcast, please do share it with your friends and colleagues, and don't forget to subscribe, like and review wherever you are listening. Thanks for listening. Until next time.